Hey now to all my hey now people, this is Jason here. How are you? I love you. I miss you. How you been? How's your weekend? What are the oranges for? Anyway, hey, dude, first off, happy birthday to everyone. I want to say I was mildly disappointed this year earlier when nobody wished me a happy birthday from my car club. I guess I should have been born on a different day than Them Rockabilly. So, to that, I'm a little chapped about it, but shit happens. It's like when my dad told me when I was 13 years old, and I said, "Hey, Dad, I'm 13, like teenager now. Can I get a birthday party or something?" He's like, "You want a fucking birthday party?" He's like, "What are you, 6? You want to be treated like a 6-year old? I'll treat you like a 6-year old." And I didn't have a birthday party that year, or many other years. So, that's it. That's the way it goes. That's the breaks, as they say. That's life in the big city. Hey, so I don't know how long I am going to be able to make this audio, so we're just gonna go off the cuff here, dude. I got a lot to say, and I think I'm running out of time to actually do this, or I even have time to do it. So, first things first, let's go. Kind of just, hi, my name is Jason. I was born in the early '70s, which means that I grew up in this strange gap between old America and whatever the fuck this is right now. We were raised by people who survived harder times than us, and they made damn sure that we knew it. You didn't complain, you worked, kept your mouth shut, you got a job, you stayed loyal, you endured. That was the formula. And for most of my life, I believed it. I believed that loyalty mattered. I believed if you showed up every day, if you sacrificed enough, if you stayed dependable long enough, eventually the universe would tap you on the shoulder and say, "Good job. Here's your piece." What is that they say in the Bible? "Good job, my faithful, loyal servant." Notice it says servant. But that's not really how everything works, though. Isn't it? Isn't it, governor? I look back at my life here in my 50s, and while I don't have any regrets, because the butthole surfer said it's better to regret something you did than something you didn't do, and I totally, wholeheartedly believe that. I carry that with me probably forever. But it kind of goes something like this. At least for me, I spent the first 10 years of my life trying to survive. My dad was an alcoholic. My mother was a workaholic and a narcissist, and also the focus of her life, the only, what's the word? Pretty much idolized my mother. Had mommy issues. What can I say? So I want to say the first 10 years were just surviving. And yeah, this is just the truth. I was a single child until I was 5, and then my brother was born. And so, growing up in the early 80s, you're trying to discover yourself. It also was a pretty awesome time. I had my escapes. I used to love playing video games. Still do. As you can see here. Used to love tinkering with shit. Taking stuff apart, breaking it down, and putting it back together, and then seeing if it still worked. That was fun for me. So yeah, I spent the first 10 years of my life just surviving. My dad worked full time. My mom worked all the time. It was just me and my brother. I would, raise my brother. Didn't question it. Didn't question it at all.
Enemy UAV overhead. Taking C.
here I am now in my 50s, and I'm being somewhat reflexive. And I just want to kind of get into it, man. Let's show a moment of fragility. Is it fragility? Nah.
Yes.
Anyway, everything within the early years of my life was kind of boiled down into, you know, my mother's desire to seek the greatest kind of normalcy possible that she could see. And what do I mean by that? Well, if keeping up to the Joneses was the norm, then she was the one kind of overachieving in order to do so. She needed the white picket fence. She needed the roses. She needed the radical car. And she needed to prove to everybody else kind of what was going on. It was quite a hell of a time growing up. I won't get into it, but it was fun and also was the worst time of my life. It sucked and also was great. Isn't that weird? But survival was an instinct, I think, that was instilled in my brain early on, you know. I'm always in this heightened sense of like, oh shit. Oh shit, here comes a belt. Many, many times. I've gotten a belt, I've gotten a knuckle sandwich, I've gotten thrown into a wall. Actually broke a wall. I've got broken bones, broken ankles, chipped teeth, black eyes, you name it. This was my childhood. Welcome, everybody. Woohoo! I don't miss the circus, but I sure miss the clowns, as they say. And sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes the bar eats you. Anyway, enough of that. Don't want to bring you down, Bruce. But in a nutshell, that's kind of my childhood, and I'm going to kind of maybe touch on it a little bit more in some later videos, and we'll see. Going back to kind of my main sermon, if you will. Oy vey. You spend your 20s trying to become somebody, and that I did. About my 30s. You spend your 30s trying to survive what you became. And then one day, you wake up and you're 50, and you wake up fucking exhausted, staring at the clock, realizing you traded the strongest years of your life for meetings, deadlines, traffic, stress, and a retirement date that keeps moving further away like a mirage in the desert. And the weird part is never questioned it. Never questioned the cycle. Here's the cycle. Take notes if you're not taking notes already, because this is the part that's going to hit. Birth, school, work, death. That's it. That's the cycle. That's the fucking conveyor belt of life. Hitch up them wagons and westward to the sands of time. You're born into that machine. You're trained by that machine. You're exhausted by that machine. And eventually, you're discarded by that machine. Somewhere along the line, they convinced us that this was normal. I don't think humankind was meant to necessarily live like that. I remember being young and hearing my folks talk about work ethic like it was a religion. Be loyal to the company. Hold on to that job like a diamond ring. Don't quit. Keep grinding. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Hard work pays off. Does it? Maybe once it did back in the 60s and 70s maybe, but now companies lay people off with an email. People dedicate 30 years to a place and leave with a coffee mug and a handshake and some manager young enough to be their kid. Loyalty became one-sided, and I think that the realization changes you. It changes you when you turn 50, maybe earlier if you're lucky. By the time you're 50, you've buried people. I got 2, 3, 4. I got a different friend every year who's dying. I've lost friends. I've watched my marriage fail. I've watched my dreams quietly die without anybody announcing it. That's the thing that nobody tells you about getting older. Your dreams never really explode. They erode. Entropy. They die slowly, one compromise at a time. One postponed hobby, one canceled trip, one maybe next year, one extra shift, one more bill, one more responsibility. Until you wake up and realize you became functional instead of alive. And honestly, I carry a lot of anger about that, especially towards my parents. Not because they were uniquely evil, but because they handed me the same prison blueprint they inherited. Work harder, suppress yourself, keep going no matter what. And when you're young, you think your parents know everything. But you hit 50 and you realize we're just wounded people trying to survive a world that they didn't understand either. That realization is both liberating and devastating. Because now there's nowhere left to point the finger forever. At some point, you have to face yourself.
Free for all.
I often do this and wonder to myself, what did I actually want from life? I did get some great things out of life, just saying. It wasn't completely a waste. I find my true wealth in my family, in my sons, in the good people that they are, and how they push forward in this life as young men. Anyway, if I went to my 10-year-old self and told them, please do not expect what you expect when you turn 50. Not what I expected, not what sounded responsible, not what paid the bills. What did I want? What did I want? That's a terrifying question. I spent decades ignoring it because maybe I didn't want the constant hustle. Maybe I didn't want to spend my healthiest years under fluorescent lights, answering emails that nobody would remember 2 weeks after I die. Maybe I wanted peace, art, silence, a garage with old music playing while I worked on my truck, baseball games on warm nights, coffee in the morning without dread weighing down on me. Simple things. But simple things became luxury in modern life. Now everybody's optimizing themselves for the grave. Talk to my friends who are also in their 50s and high school buddies. It's all about, for those who aren't lucky enough to be in a financial state to retire, it's about productivity, side hustles, Personal brands, monetizing your hobbies, tracking your sleep, tracking your steps, tracking your calories. We're being turned into a human spreadsheet. And I'm fucking tired of it. Not sleepy tired, but the soul shaking tired. The kind of tired where your body keeps moving, but your spirit checked out years ago. And I know I'm not alone in that. A lot of Gen X people are carrying this quiet disappointment with them. It weighs heavy. I watch all these Gen X videos on YouTube, and I'm looking at these folks, and I'm like nodding my head, and also at the same time I'm being like, have we not learned anything that our parents yelled at us, drilled in our brain? These are just thoughts. Because if we were told, if we played by the rules, we'd eventually feel secure. Instead, we got nothing. We got bullshit. We got economies crashing. Man, even before that, fucking space shuttle blowing up, disappointment, impossible housing prices, corporate nonsense. There's a realization here that retirement isn't a golden finish line anymore. Retirement used to mean freedom.
Enemy sentry gun active.
Retirement used to mean the trophy, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Now it just means anxiety. Will I have enough? Can I afford the health care? How long do I have to keep working? What happens if my body gives out before my bank account works out? That is our modern nightmare, and generations behind Gen X, people like my wife, people who are younger than me, my sons, people I know, my friends who are younger. It's a fucking nightmare. It's gonna only get worse, and I'm sorry, that sucks. Maybe that's why Gen Xers, folks my age, start reevaluating everything, because once you realize that your time is finite, your tolerance for fake things disappear. Fake jobs, fake conversations, fake relationships, fake ambitions. You stop wanting to impress people. I just want peace, real peace. Not the motivational quote-unquote peace. Not vacation peace. Not the fake peace that a religion or something gives you. I want to wake up and not feel like my entire existence isn't being consumed by obligation. Man, regret. I talked about that a little bit, but regret is a strange thing in your 50s. It's less about specific mistakes and more about the time, the years that you can't get back. The moment you rush through because you were too busy, the people you should have called, the art you never made, the version of yourself you just abandoned to survive. That's a grief nobody prepares you for, mourning yourself while you're still alive. But despite all that, not really hopeless. Cynical, hell yeah. Tired, oh my god. Angry, more than I should be. But hopeless? Nah, I don't think so. Because getting older also strips away illusion. You stop chasing what sounds important and start chasing what actually feels meaningful. I think one thing you realize is that peace matters more than status. I wish my mom got that memo. Health matters more than appearances. And time matters more than money. And maybe the goal now isn't becoming wildly successful, but maybe the goal is simply becoming free before it's over. Free from expectations, free from guilt, free from proving myself every second of my existence. Maybe the real victory is reclaiming the parts of myself the world convinced me to abandon. And maybe that's where I am right now. trying to remember who I was before the machine got a hold of me. Trying to figure out if there's still enough time to live differently. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly. Because at the end of all this, nobody on their deathbed wishes they spent more time answering emails. They got that extra project done. They got that bonus, whatever it is. They got that title in front of their name. They got that 20-year, 25-year badge. Nobody on their deathbed, I don't think, ever thinks of that or dreams of that. I think they just wish that they had lived. Thankfully, with very much certainty, I can say that I have lived. And I'll continue to live. Hopefully I'll be wise enough to understand the difference. But yeah, this was a heavy duty stream of consciousness. Took a while to actually put these thoughts, just kind of put them in some notes. So it is what it is. But actually living life is really awesome. So I'm on the precipice of pulling my chute. No, I'm not going to harm myself, but I'm pulling my chute work-wise. I'm going to give this some more time. But if you like this kind of talk, if you think, you know, showing a brief moment of truth and connection or something that I should pursue, give this video a like, leave something in the comments. I don't have much of a reach here, but I'm just a dude. So, hey now to all my hey now type people. I miss you all. I love you. And I hope I talk to you real soon. Take care, all.